Raptors forward Scottie Barnes looked terrible in the recent loss to the San Antonio Spurs, and it was an even worse look on the player when he left the game with time still on the clock. But perhaps how the Raptors handled the situation in the aftermath looks even worse than anything that went on during the game. So let's cover it and react to it here. Let's get into it. Welcome back, everybody. This is Amateur Sports 2, the second channel in the Amateur Hour Production Network for additional Toronto Raptors content in videos just like this. If you find yourself enjoying this one along the way, then make sure you are subscribed to the channel as always, and please ensure as well you drop a like on this video. Now, difficult topic to cover, especially in the aftermath, having seen Scottie Barnes' performance in the Indiana Pacers game, but really needed to come back and analyze how this situation went down with Scottie Barnes, his behavior during the San Antonio Spurs game, and how the Raptors and specifically head coach Darko Rajakovic addressed the issue. Because if Darko's not going to address it, I'm going to address it here, because Scottie Barnes in the game against the San Antonio Spurs, no, he did not have a very good game statistically, other than points, other than shooting percentages. It was fine, but his demeanor, behavior, leadership, or lack thereof during the game was absolutely a problem for the Raptors. If you've not seen it, I covered it in a main channel video on Amateur Sports #1, not called #1, just Amateur Sports. But to recap here, there were situations like this where he'd make a backward pass, turn it over, and put his head in his hands and not run back on defense, which turned into, by the way, Devin Vassell hitting a wide open three because it's 4-on-5. Also in this game, Scottie Barnes would go to the rim, wanted to get a foul call, doesn't get it, so he stops, doesn't get back on defense, 4-on-5 once again. Also in this game, what made the whole thing as bad as can be, with time still on the clock, yes, it's only 3.8 seconds, but what kind of message is this sending? Leaves the game early, walks away from his team. I agree, disrespectful to your team and your bench guys like Mohamedou Gay out there trying to earn their keep in the NBA. Yes, he's a young player. Yes, he's still learning, but yikes. This is not it. Absolutely not 100%. I was very upset with the way this went down for Scottie Barnes, and the Raptors actually made a precedent about this. It wasn't Darko, but it was Nick Nurse when Pascal Siakam walked off with 26 seconds to go in a game after fouling out. He was suspended by the team for a game for disciplinary measures, for leaving the game early. You can't do that. You can't quit on your team like that no matter what the situation is, no matter what the score is. So I was upset. Obviously, not upset to the point where I'm like, you got to trade this guy. He's not a leader. Can't be first up. No, not to that extent. But to the extent like this needs to be addressed and this needs to be communicated towards Scottie Barnes that something like this is not okay. Yeah, it was only 3.8 seconds. But again, it's the message that you're sending here. Something like this is not okay. That needs to be communicated. Look, if this turns into a similar situation to Siakam where it's a one-game suspension, then so be it. But this needs to be communicated. This needs to be discussed. There needs to be something that goes on to ensure that everybody knows, no matter who you are on the roster, something like this is not okay. So, this is how the Raptors handle it in the aftermath the morning after. So, Scottie Barnes left the bench early. Yes, Rajakovic talked it up to a misunderstanding, of course, and said that they spoke about it in the morning of the 15th, or in the morning of the 13th, rather, and told him that he needs to have better awareness as a leader, but doesn't feel discipline is required. Okay, spoke about it, didn't feel the need for any sort of repercussions in missing a game, just needed to communicate it. All right, sure. I probably would have gone a little bit further, but sure. Don't want to cause a stir. It is what it is. However, Darko said that he and the coaches met with Scottie Barnes in the morning and talked about channeling emotions the right way during games. Scottie Barnes said, we didn't have no conversation about that. So, Darko Rajakovic led the press conference in the aftermath of that San Antonio Spurs game by saying the coaches had a meeting with Scottie Barnes to discuss what went on and the behavior, demeanor issues. Scottie Barnes said that conversation did not happen. So, yeah, I was mad about this. Not like I'm not like outraged or anything, but oh my, like this really got me upset. I was so mad about. I really was mad about this because Darko Rajakovic, trying to save face here, right? Trying to cover and say that this conversation happened. Everything is gonna be okay. We broke it down. Whatever. Wanted everything to sweep everything under the rug, but he would rather outright lie to the press and say this conversation happened. He would rather cover for Scottie Barnes rather than actually have a conversation about leadership and taking accountability. Like, that is such a spineless maneuver. Oh my God. Maybe I am outraged because like, you would rather lie about it than actually just have that conversation with the player. Like, I'm not saying you had to suspend him a game, and I consider it, but my God, like at least a conversation about leadership and taking accountability. But to say you had that and then to have that not actually happen, like, who knows who's telling the truth? Maybe Scottie Barnes is lying, but why would Scottie Barnes say no conversation of the sorts happened? I honestly cannot believe this is the way Darko Rajakovic handled it. He just didn't have that conversation. Like, why would Scottie Barnes lie about that? Completely shocked that like, I am astounded that this is the way the situation was handled. Now, like, ultimately, like, how much is this going to affect the team this season, beyond whatever? Probably not, like, not at all in the grand scheme long term. We're going to forget about this. And I want to forget about this whole situation. But honestly, like, I've communicated very clearly across all of the channels here: Amateur Sports, Amateur Sports 2, Amateur Reactions. I've communicated. I am not a fan of Darko Rajakovic as head coach, but man, for this adding on to it, like, could he make it any worse on this situation here? Like, not only do I not like the on-court stuff, the off-court stuff has been okay. I recognize players like him. Old players, like, they always want to talk to Darko. Players like him. That's something that he has going for himself. But like, to not have enough respect from his group to be able to communicate something like this with his star player, it is such an astonishingly bad look. Like, a huge yikes on this entire situation. I can't believe he didn't have a conversation with him about it. I cannot even fathom him saying they had that conversation and then having not had it. But credit to Scottie Barnes. Big bounce back performance against the Indiana Pacers. Yes, 12 of 22 from the field, 29 points, 12 rebounds, 8 assists, albeit 6 turnovers, but a much improved performance. 3 ball's been struggling recently, 0-4 here. But hey, really nice performance here from Scottie Barnes. It seemed like the effort, demeanor was up from this one. Hopefully he takes it upon himself to address leadership issues, accountability issues, demeanor on court issues. Hopefully, he kind of takes that upon himself. But like, this whole situation, I don't think this looks like Scottie. I wish Scottie Barnes had addressed this issue a bit more seriously. He was trying to downplay and saying there's only 3 seconds left. He thought everybody was leaving. Like, clearly he didn't. We saw the video earlier. He was on his own. He knew he was on his own. He knew he was leaving early. I wish he had kind of taken a bit more, once again, accountability on that situation. Like, sure, he apologized, but I wish he had addressed it more, like, knowingly being in the wrong in that whole ordeal. Regardless, more so upset in this situation, like how Darko handled this one. And again, I'm going to repeat the same point I made in the Amateur Sports video. Like, if you think that Darko can't have this serious talk with a player like Scottie Barnes because he may not get that respect and it could give Scottie Barnes the wrong impression, cause a little bit of tension there. Like, listen, if the players don't respect Darko Rajakovic enough to respect his decision in his situation like this, like, you have to wonder if there's any respect at all and if that person should be the head coach of this team. I don't know. I've already been against Darko as head coach. This definitely makes things worse. As for Scottie Barnes, like, look, this is the last time I'm going to comment on this issue. Like, I want to move on. I wish it had been addressed a lot better. Of course, Scottie Barnes is going to be okay. Hopefully he's learned from this experience. He's 22 years old. He's learning. He's an all-star. So happy for him. So happy to have him as a focal point of this franchise going forward. But this better be a real learning curve here. And really, something like this cannot happen again. Like, just cannot happen again. And I'm really mad that was not communicated by Darko Rajakovic to him. Whatever. I just had to get out my feelings on this one. Genuinely like, astonished with the coaching situation here. Genuinely astonished. That is such a bad look. Oh my God. I don't know. Honestly, I don't know if I'm taking this too far or what. Genuinely, I cannot believe he tried to cover it up and lie about it rather than just actually having that fucking conversation. Wow, I could go on forever, but that'll do it for this. I've communicated my point. You guys let me know. Am I going too far or what? Do you agree with me? Let me know your thoughts and opinions and comments down below. That's all for me on the channel today. Check out some other stuff from the Amateur Production Network, my main channel for more Raptors videos, my reaction channel for the best stream clips and highlights from the streams from this channel. Subscribe to the channel you're on right now, Amateur Sports 2, and here is a video from my main channel. That's also Raptors related. That if you like this one, you might enjoy that one as well. I'll see you again next time for another video.